Hello, my name is Toni Jannotta, and I'll be your host for this segment of Our Ventura. My guest for today is John Wilner, whose brainchild is Color Gardens. Color Gardens is an offshoot of Color.org, community organized for liberty, opportunity, and respect. And it's my great pleasure, I am thrilled to have with me the executive director, John Wilner. Hello.
Hello, Toni. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks so much, so much. I'm thrilled to be a part of this organization. So I think maybe let's start with Color.org and how it became Color Gardens, which is on the corner, before I forget, on the corner of Chestnut and Poli.
That's right, yeah. Color Gardens on the corner of Poli and Chestnut in downtown Ventura is, as you said, an offshoot of Community Organized for Liberty, Opportunity, and Respect, which we call Color for short because that's quite a mouthful. Color is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are a gay-straight alliance dedicated to ending homophobia through community service that benefits all. In the case of Color Gardens, what we do there, we're half volunteer staffed farm and half community garden. And so all of the produce from our volunteer staffed farm is donated to local food pantries. Food Share being predominantly the beneficiary because they have the storage and distribution capacity to service all of the food pantries in Ventura County.
And so first it was Color.org. Tell me how Color.org came together.
Okay, well, Color started through a group of friends, actually a dinner club that I was part of called Monday Night Dinner. And we realized we're having all these people together every Monday night, and we had already sort of built a community in that sense. And we thought, what can we do to build some good out of this dinner club? The dinner club is great, but how can we use this collection of people for something good? And so we started talking about our various community interests. In our dinner group, we had gay people, lesbian people, bisexual people, transgender people, straight people, people who refuse to be put in a box. And we thought, well, let's do something that benefits the community as a whole. And our first action was actually to form a team for the Ventura County AIDS Walk. We formed that team, and we made up a neat logo and names and all that. And before long, we started signing on to help with other organizations and other fundraisers. We helped one called Father Sings Bus, which was a nonprofit set up to raise money for a bus for an orphanage in India.
Oh my! Where
one of our board members, Deanna Flanagan, has volunteered quite often. And Color Gardens then later came about because we were looking for a flagship project, if you will. This was our flagship project. It was one that, you know, with the garden, it's one that breaks down barriers of all types.
Absolutely.
You're a member of the garden as well.
Yes, I am.
So you know that when you're out there working in the garden, there's no way to tell who's gay and who's straight and who's somewhere in between, and it really doesn't matter.
Nope.
And I'll tell you also, the people who are getting the food that we donate really don't care who grew it.
Nope.
It's all for the good. By the way, I should mention, to date, since putting our first crops in the ground, March 25th, 2010, we have donated over 1,700 pounds of organically grown produce, grown right in downtown Ventura. That's something that makes me very happy, and it's really neat to see people drive by the garden. First of all, we're doing many things there. One, we're feeding the hungry. Two, we're teaching about organic gardening. Three, we're beautifying what used to be a blighted lot right in the middle of downtown Ventura. Four, we're building community. And five, we're erasing barriers that one time existed.
Hear, hear.
So it really became, that's really why it became the flagship project, and it took off much faster than any of us could possibly have imagined. It's just great to look out the window from my office, which is across the street, and see families stop by, bring their kids through the garden, see people stop and have a picnic lunch there. It's really neat that it's on one of the Downtown Ventura Convention Visitors Bureau. It's on their website as a thing to do in Ventura.
Really? I didn't know that.
It's really neat. And I don't know if you've noticed from up in the garden, but we have a wonderful ocean view from there.
Yes.
We're on part of a hill.
Although when I'm in my when I'm in my crops, all I think about are the weeds.
Oh, yeah.
How's it going? And like I was telling you, my broccoli is rocking. So.
Oh yeah, this is the time of year right now in the winter for the broccoli. You know, I just went by there for a jog the other day, and I saw that our rainbow chard is doing great.
Yeah.
Kale is doing great right now. And had some potatoes in the ground. And
oh, I have to. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
ahead,
it has
please.
nothing to do with the interview, but I have to ask you about potatoes. But we'll do that later.
All right, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I have new potato information I got from one of the other garden volunteers. I stopped by. They donated some tools to us. And,
really?
And he gave me some tips on potato growing while I was there. You know, that's one of the things many of us who are there in the garden at least started out with more enthusiasm about gardening than expertise.
Yeah.
You know, one of the reasons I started the garden is I enjoy cooking. I'm a foodie.
Yep.
I enjoy gardening as well because I like my food to be fresh. I saw that the kids at City Corps had ripped out the rose bushes lining their front lawn and planted some food plants there. I thought, wow, if they can do that with such a small space, imagine what we could do with this great vacant lot that I had access to.
Yeah.
And now they don't even have a lawn anymore. Their whole front yard is all garden, all vegetables. And
oh, wow. Now tell the people, it's a huge lot for those who haven't been by Chestnut and Poli, and half of it is the volunteer, and the other half are private patches where people like me have a patch.
That's right. It's a 14,700 square foot lot. And it stretches, what would be 2 standard lots in downtown Ventura. So it's quite sizable.
It is.
And divided right about down the middle. We have, as you said, the separation between what is the community staffed farm, or the volunteer staffed farm, if you will, and what is the community garden, where folks can grow their own crops.
Yeah.
Of course, for those people who do subscribe to their own plot, we always offer a discount for those willing to donate some of their produce along with ours. And I think, you know, most of the plots down there are 10 foot by 10 foot, which is more than enough space to grow food for a family of 4.
Yeah.
And so especially when someone has a great crop of things, it's just so much fun to share.
It is.
You know, like you do with your neighbor out of your backyard garden anyways,
Yeah,
except
it is.
this time we're really sharing for those who are less fortunate.
And it's amazing to me the gardens, at least for me, they're extremely healing. I can go there when I feel awful, and then pretty soon I'm feeling great. And when I donate to Food Share from my own private garden, it's a great, happy feeling. It really lifts my spirits. And I know we've talked about this. I'm a part of the volunteer group as well.
That's right.
And tell us about the volunteer group that comes together every other Sunday.
That's right. The volunteer group comes together every other Sunday from noon until 3 or 4, whenever we've finished our tasks for the day. It's really open to people of all abilities and skill levels, of all ages. I've had my nieces out there when, you know, at ages 3 and 5.
Aww.
It's really great. We've had everyone from that age to some who, you know, super seniors, I'd say, well up there in their age. And you know, one of the neat things about gardening is it is sort of a community building project anyways. Everybody's got some tips that they got from their parents or their grandparents, or everybody has a new tip that they've read about, and it's just so neat to get together and to share all of that. And to see down in the community garden side, I've loved to see people putting out the word, hey, I'm going to be on vacation for a while, could you tend to my crops?
Aww.
People are glad to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it has really raised the bar on us in the volunteer staff side as well, because there's a little bit of keeping up with the Joneses going on down in the community garden side. Once someone sees, oh yeah, it's great, because once someone sees, wow, look what they did with theirs, or look at that trellis for something, someone says, I'm going to build one of those.
That's right. I've seen flags. I've got my rocks and my this, and
that's right. Yours is great with the volcanic stone all around it, circled out. Everyone will know which one's yours
really
now.
Really puffs me up, and then I see other people are doing their garden. I just, you know, I can't wait to meet more people. So it builds cooperation, and the whole community service thing, I think, is just the most lovely part of all. That's
great, you know, and to jump back to something we said before, Color is a group that's a gay-straight alliance. We do projects that benefit the community as a whole. We, of course, also do projects that are directed more towards the LGBT population, the lesbian. It's the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender population. We are the producers of Ventura County Pride, LGBT Pride Festival, which happens every August. We also run a youth group for LGBT youth called Rainbow Umbrella. It's really great to give them a safe space to come to and talk about, definitely, and talk about issues and feelings that they might be having. Maybe they're not getting treated properly in school. Maybe they're being bullied, or maybe they're scared about ways to come out of the closet. So these are some of our other projects, and it's really neat to see people from each one of our different projects come together. I think everybody from all of our projects has at some time or another gotten involved in the garden, at least stopped by. You know, speaking of the every other Sunday garden days, one thing I should mention is it's okay to show up and just hang out too. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, if you want to just come and see what we do, that's really neat. The more people we have down there on any given Sunday, the more likely passers-by are to stop and say, hey, what's going on here? And that, of course, gives us an opportunity to say, look, here's one of our flyers, here's what we do, we'd love to come out and have your help. And we've had people stop like that and say, well, I'm not doing anything right now, I'll lend a hand right now. You know, I was at the garden, I think it was I was at my own garden last Sunday, and some guy walked through and we started talking, and he said, I love this, I love the feeling. I come through the garden just because it's the beginning of my walk through the hills, and it's so cool. And I also love the way people beep. Would you talk a little bit about that? They'll beep as they drop by. And oh yeah, you know, anytime when we're out there working in the garden, sometimes we'll have a car drive by and honk. Usually it's a friend of ours, or usually someone just saying, hey, good job. They put up a thumbs up sign or something out the window. You know, every now and then we have some people come through and hurl some sort of epithet at us, some sort or other, you know, derogatory term towards gay or lesbian people. But the funny thing about those people is they're never the ones to stop and talk. They are in the safety and anonymity of their own car, and they zoom by and scream out whatever they're going to scream out. We can go ahead and laugh those off. You know, for the most part, the people of the city of Ventura are very tolerant. The city government of Ventura is very supportive of this project. It's diagonally across from City Hall, and it's great to see nice flowers and plants growing. And don't you feel that a tolerant, I hate to use that word tolerate, like, what, does somebody have to tolerate that I'm Italian? I don't get that. I can give you a little bit of insight on that word. You know, as you said, tolerance is just putting up with. Our goal is acceptance. Acceptance. We're all just people, you know. We're all just part of the human race, and some people, you know, it really is no different than I don't know, the difference in color of skin, something like that. It is an innate characteristic like that. And it's great to see, to be building this acceptance out in the community. Yes, and to have an accepting community and an open community is a hip community. Most of all, it's a healthy community. Absolutely. It's a healthy community. It helps all. It's, you know, it's a place where people can get together and feel good about themselves. Yeah, absolutely. Feel good about what they're doing for others. And I just love it. I live nearby there. My office is across the street from there. I couldn't think of many better places to do this sort of project than downtown Ventura, although I do encourage people in cities and towns of all types to... Well, let me tell you something, because we're talking so much, I've totally run out of time. I am so sorry, because I'm very passionate about this like you are. How do we get a hold of you if we want to volunteer? That's very important. Our website address is www.vccolor.org. That's VCCOLOR.org. You can also find us on Facebook by searching for Color Gardens. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, John Wilner. Thank you very much. I've just talked my head off. I'm Toni Jannotta. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for dropping by Our Ventura.